So, hello to our viewers within and outside the Philippines, and welcome to our People Watch segment with the title Reimagining Leadership. I am excited to have conversation with a woman leader whose experience will serve as a monumental reference on how we can reimagine leadership today as businesses, schools, and commerce are reshaping our economic landscape. I am deeply honored to have conversations with our guest speaker today, whose collections of expertise are from multi industry experiences of the Philippine leading conglomerates and multinational companies. She is a global HR leader and an OD expert whose intelligence with a heart for sharing her learning is so paramount. Hence, we are privileged and blessed to learn from her today. So, help me welcome the Managing Director of Corporate Transformation Incorporated, Ms. Socorro Y. Tuvilla-Suarez.
Hello, Jackie. Thank you for that kind introduction.
Yeah, hello. A warm welcome to you, Miss Core. So I know our viewers can learn a lot from your wealth of experiences. So I want to strike right here. My first question to you. So with economies and schools reopening today, how imagining leadership looks like for you?
Okay. First of all, good afternoon, colleagues and friends. So, with that question, given the rude awakening that the pandemic gave us, I can imagine that leaders of organizations of different sectors and industries in the Philippines will now review or revisit their vision, mission, values, and strategies and live up to nobler purposes. The relevance and responsiveness of the vision and the strategies will now take on a more broader view that goes beyond the realm of business per se to cover more palpable expressions of corporate social responsibility that impact on sustainability. They will need to look into the triple bottom line, that is social, environmental, and financial realms, to be significant. So we have seen examples of that during the pandemic, right? With SMC, for example, manufacturing alcohol in the factories instead of beer. For educational institutions that had students and their parents study from home, they would now have to revisit their instructional methods after the virtual stream of information, which may not have been internalized as students were sleeping. They may explore experiential methods similar to the recognized Filipino teacher Dr. Bio, who brought her students in the forests to actually experience their science lessons and whose honor an asteroid has been renamed. Leaders need to take on a regenerative stance of regrowing, refreshing, and revitalizing their organizations. They will need to define the kind of leadership roles that will make their updated directions a reality. Novel suite roles, C-suites roles like Chief Innovation Officer or Chief Transformation Officer may come up. Most importantly, organizations will need to identify people who not only have the competencies, but also the mindset to co create their organizations. This is a rare breed of leaders who will simultaneously perform and transform.
Wow, that's very comprehensive, Miss Kors. What I'm hearing there really is about our being, our values on who we are. And that will really help us to lead to achieving the triple bottom line. I usually call this as the people, the planet, and our prosperity, no, for
Right,
everyone. And as we are going to reconnect with who we are, then we have to check as well how are we doing now, just like what you mentioned that the
yes,
professor really brought his students to the forest and really
right.
interact. It's really redesigning, right? And it's now co-creation. It's not about silos, right? So
That's
it's
right.
about co-creation. So
Mhm.
that also really lead me to this question again, Miss Core, that I know that answers may have a shelf life, but powerful questions can really last a lifetime.
That's
So
right.
what is the question that keeps you awake in finding an answer about leadership today?
Okay. So I have a hard time sleeping at night. I tried different methods. So the thing that constantly comes up to my mind is quality, of everything. So the question with regards leadership is, how do I enable and ensure the quality of leadership? We have gone through the journey of equipping our managers with competencies and experiences to make them more effective. But I was surprised to come around this word that sounds German. It's called Zeitgeist. Oh gosh, what's that? Zeitgeist, which means defining the spirit or mood of a particular period of history as shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time. With the pandemic resulting in a zeitgeist shift, we wonder, what are the defining characteristics of extraordinary business leaders today? A Harvard business study looked into 1,000 outstanding 20th century business leaders and had surprising results. In an article entitled As the World Shifts, So Should Leaders, they saw that it is not enduring traits, but their ability to recognize and adapt to the opportunities created by a particular moment. They could sense the zeitgeist, the spirit, the mood, the ideas and beliefs that define a particular period, and most importantly, to seize it. Effective leadership, therefore, is largely context specific. The same person who succeeded in one era might fail miserably in another. The zeitgeist is shaped by six factors like global events, government interventions, labor relations, demographics, and technological landscape. Individuals who can recognize these factors and exploit them will have what we call contextual intelligence. So can you imagine that? You have emotional intelligence, all kinds of intelligence. Now it's knowing the context. There are clear signs that we are in the midst of a zeitgeist shift. Effective leaders will consider its implications, create new opportunities, and bring about change. Our role, and this is what I keep thinking about at night, is how do we enable and ensure the quality of leadership with size guys in mind in our respective organizations, Jackie?
Wow. Wow, that's so soothing, Miss Core, that it is so important for us to have a deeper awareness of our here and now. It's
Yes,
it's really like, as you mentioned, I remember Carpe Diem. It's really seizing the
the
moment,
moment.
yeah, and adapting to what life offers instead of looking for something that's not there, and
Correct.
optimize what you have. And the huge thing that I'm hearing from you as well is shift. We need to shift, we need to recalibrate, we need to change. So
Mm-mm.
that's really innate to us, that's really natural to us. We are all gifted to
Right.
really to really create change in our lives. And I love what you mentioned about contextual intelligence. Once you know how to shift, once you know how to change, then I think you will have that kind of intelligence where you can grow from where you are. So
That's
that,
right.
that leads me again. This is a very interesting conversation. It's so,
Yeah.
so we know that we are dealing with different generations now, no?
Oh my
So
gosh.
we
Yes.
oh my gosh, that's really that's really the reaction. So, with the
Yes.
multi-generational workforce leaders are having in their team today, what do you think is the most imaginable leadership approach you have in mind?
Okay. So, do you know that never before in the history of mankind have organizations experienced the presence of five generations in our workforce? That's a lot of challenge for us. The silent, you don't have to confess which one you are in. Silent generation, loyal and traditional, baby boomers. You have the Gen X, which is independent but bleak. You have the millennials. Who does not know the millennials? Driven but entitled. And last is Generation Z, which is progressive but disloyal. Surprise of surprise. The challenge for leaders as a leadership approach that I have in mind, Jackie, is to collaborate with and appreciate the unique preferences, habits, and behaviors of people, not necessarily on the basis of their description of the different generations. It calls for leaders to debunk the wholesale stereotypes of the generations that may sideline people who do not fit the age based categorization. Generalizations can, in fact, be problematic. As leaders in the context of a multi generational workforce, we can look into methods of communications and interactions that individuals feel comfortable with. We can ask them, ano kaya yung way na comfortable ka? And shift these methods and venue depending on the purpose or goal. So if it's for efficiency and just passing on information, email will do, or Viber or Messenger even. But if you need to discuss performance or a career move, a face to face is necessary, or a reorganization even, because you need to, or coaching needs face to face relationship building. We are called to create venues for different groups, not necessarily group by age, to express themselves freely. Ultimately, it starts and ends with respect and understanding and results in mutual growth.
Wow. Wow. What really comes to me, Miss Core, is really the faith in people, that you
Mm-hmm.
really have to trust each one, as every leader will really collaborate all those five generations at one time, as you
Right.
mentioned. Our generation Z is really progressive but disloyal, so we really have to adapt and accept, and really work with their mindset now. And the most powerful way of doing that is collaborate, collaborate, and collaborate
With them, yes.
with them. So
Yes.
yeah, so as we are nearing to the end, this is a very beautiful conversation, Miss Core. But as we are nearing to the end of our time here, I'm very curious, Miss Core, being a leader whose experience is very wealthy and also a human capital executive, what regenerative growth you have achieved so far today?
Thank you, Jackie. I have been privileged to experience regenerative growth, which calls for a change in being, in thinking, and in doing in the context of my 40 years professional experience in HR management and org transformation. That headed either I headed HR, either headed HR or did external consulting for various industries. The journey called figuratively, uh, it called for dying and being reborn. And I say that personally, and professionally. I found reinventing myself a number of times to stay relevant and actually to light the path for people and organizations undergoing change of every nature. Regenerative growth may be seen in a successful change or transformation endeavor, both in the trenches, which is most meaningful, and in the boardrooms, where people in contention are brought together in a productive synergy with a shared purpose that makes life better for all. I would like to highlight my organizational transformation journey in a large utilities company that called for strategy formulation and execution, organization capability building, and leadership development. Through executive coaching, leaders in every level of the organization passionately pursued the change efforts with me in the background and engaged their people to own the change. That organization has invested in triple bottom line sustainability for social, environment, and financial viability, as well as won multiple international and local awards, including the gold standard in Investor in People as a testament to regenerative growth. The biggest lesson I learned, Jackie, would you believe, is that one cannot expect to transform an organization without transforming each and every person in it. As enablers of organizational transformation and regenerative growth, we, human capital practitioners, quietly savor the joy and the personal and professional fulfillment that is gifted to us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Very wisdomful and very authentic. No, that's what I'm hearing, that we need to let go those practices, life practices, professional practices, or leadership practices which are not serving us in our current time, in the context of where we are, and start to embrace what are those which are life affirming of who you are, your being, and what you are doing as well. So
That's
letting
right.
go and start doing or continue doing what are those which are supporting or serving you. So
That's
Miss
right,
Core,
Jackie. That's
yeah,
right. So it's not only the organization that we're working on that changes, it's also us.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
also us,
yeah,
and it's a privilege to be in this profession of ours.
yeah. So very, very rich conversations I have with you, Miss Core, and I am really deeply honored on this conversation. So
Thank you.
I would like to bring this back to you, Joanne.